Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On today's show, the Senate Minority Leader, plus the crisis in health care. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Senator Dina Titus is running for governor, but is she also running away from the property tax issue? And Lawrence O'Brien is trying to revive the health of one of Nevada's oldest hospitals. Sam?
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Matt Sharp, Fred Hillerby, and Martha Gould. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Where do I want to go? Me? Denver.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Atlanta. Vancouver.
Chicago.
We can help you get where you need to be
Paris.
or want to be.
Yankee
Reno
City.
Tahoe International Airport. Anytime, any place, anywhere.
Anywhere.
Minneapolis.
St. Paul.
Over 170 daily flights, non-stop service to 19 cities and connections everywhere else. Reno Tahoe International Airport, dedicated to moving you.
Jupiter.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the program via satellite from Las Vegas, Senator Dina Titus, the Minority Leader. Welcome to the program, Senator.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Wanted to refer to Erin Neff's article yesterday in the Review-Journal, where she talks about your public squabbling with Richard Perkins. Have you guys buried the hatchet? Have you met yet and discussed this?
Well, now, you know how the press is. Anytime things get a little slow, they like to stir up something. Richard and I work well together, and we're going to continue to do that through the session.
What about the thought that with both of you running for governor, that every speech from the floor will be part of the race for governor?
Well, you know, this is a very important session. We've got to deal with things like property tax, water issues, a rebate to the voters. I think we better focus on those kind of issues instead of focusing on the race for governor and wait until the summer to let that get started.
Senator, you've proposed a property tax freeze that would last either 1 or 2 years. Does this freeze, are you trying to call a timeout here on property taxes so the issue doesn't interrupt your bid to become governor?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with my being governor. It has to do with providing some immediate relief for Nevada taxpayers and giving legislators a chance to study this issue. All the scholars, all the pundits, all the policymakers have said this is extremely complex. You know how the legislature works. We make decisions at the last minute. We make them based on politics, not good policy. This is too important to let that happen. So I said, let's give taxpayers some relief with the freeze and take some time to really study the issue, because whatever we do now can have tremendous long-term consequences for the state.
You know, the county governments and the school districts are having a fit over this. What's your response to their cries for help?
Well, they don't want to see a freeze or a cap because they want some money because of growth and to meet new needs. I don't want to hamstring local government or school districts either. My freeze, though, is a freeze on assessed value for existing property. So they will still get all the growth money. It's just that the growth will be assessed at the 2004 rate, not at the 2005 rate, so that we meet the constitutional requirement that all property is treated equally. If you own a vacant land this year and then you build a house on it, you would pay taxes on a house, not on vacant land. It's just that the house would be assessed at the 2004 rate. And so they get the growth money.
Senator Raggio and Governor Gwynn both said last week that, you know, right now the municipalities and counties that have a difficulty with this property tax issue, under law, they already have the ability to reduce the tax base. So why don't we just solve this problem at the local level and not deal with it at the legislature?
Well, that's some more of the complexity of the issue. You know, way back when we did the tax shift in response to Prop 13 in California and we moved from property tax to sales tax, part of that law included a provision that capped local government. It's just that there are so many loopholes in it. Marvin Levitt, who's the expert, will tell you that cap is never really put in place. And also, if local governments lowered the rate, they can only lower so much of it, because a lot of that has to do with bond issues that have been passed by the voters, a certain percent that goes to the state. Different local governments charge different rates, and the rate of assessment has increased so greatly that even just dropping the rate a little bit won't make enough difference to help some people.
Let's talk about the Millennium Scholarships. You were quoted in Ed Vogel's piece today that 40% of the kids who have gotten the Millennium Scholarship are taking remedial classes. Would you expand on that a little?
Yes, I strongly support the Millennium Scholarship. I think it's a great thing, a great way to get Nevada students going to college, because we had a very low rate. But we're running out of money. Now, the governor wants to fund it with bonds. I say, why borrow money to fund something when you got money in the bank? Let's use some of the excess that we have this time. But let's put some more restrictions on the Millennium Scholarship. Let's tighten it up. Let's increase the grade point average that you have to maintain. Let's say that students can't take remedial courses and get the Millennium Scholarship. It's really supposed to be for the best and brightest, so let's be sure that that's who gets it.
Chris Giunciliani spoke of a means test. Would you support that?
It depends. I want this to be something that benefits all Nevadans. Now, do I think Steve Wynn's daughter needs money to go to college? No, but I don't want to put a means test on it so low that it just turns out to be a benefit program for the low income.
Senator, let's get to public education. The Democrats want full-day kindergarten for all students in Nevada. Now, I've studied this issue, and I can see where poor students and students that don't speak the English language really need full-day kindergarten. But why should the taxpayers of this state fund full-day kindergarten, which is very expensive to the wealthy kids of the state also?
Well, full-day kindergarten is expensive. The governor has pushed for it in the past. In his budget this time, though, he's only calling for full-day kindergarten in those at-risk schools to use part of that $100 million he's appropriated there. My feeling is you don't just invest in schools that are at risk. Go to schools that are just doing okay and help them out before they fail. All statistics show that children who get full-day kindergarten have a much better success rate once they get into first, second, third grade. And that's when you got to get children, is at that age, so they don't drop out down the road. And you know, Nevada has a very high dropout rate.
Well, Senator, why fund it in wealthy neighborhoods? You know, the studies show the biggest benefit of full-day kindergarten in wealthy neighborhoods is that wives don't have to leave their lunch at the Bellagio early to pick up their kids.
Well, I don't know about that, Ray. We'll have to look at the figures and see. I think all children need to go to kindergarten.
Okay, and we're out of time. Senator Titus, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it, and you're always welcome back. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. You're welcome. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Sunbelt Communication.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the program Lawrence O'Brien, who is the new CEO of St. Mary's Hospital, one of the two large hospitals in Reno. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let's talk about the crisis in medical care. And my personal crisis in medical care is I've just seen my insurance rates go up for my wife and I by 20% from last year to this year, and that's on top of an increase last year. How is that reflected in your cost of doing business?
Yeah, there are several things that impact on the cost of doing business. There's both utilization and then there's price escalation. Most of the contracts, the managed care contracts, as well as Medicare and Medicaid, are fixed reimbursement. So we don't necessarily get paid anymore because your insurance premiums go up. It could be that your employer group had 4 more babies this year than last year. It could be you had 2 open heart surgeries. And those are the kinds of things that are driving, plus the cost of prescription drugs, are driving the escalation of medical costs.
Mr. O'Brien, Nevada already ranks 51st in Medicaid spending. President Bush is proposing cutting federal funding for Medicaid. What would this do to your hospital and others in Nevada?
Well, for 51st, we can't get much worse, I wouldn't think, but we have a long way to go. About 30% of our revenues are derived from the Medicaid program. Every year in healthcare, employees are getting an increase. We've got 12 to 15% cost of prescription drugs that are getting passed along. And the problem is the squeeze continues because hospitals and physicians are getting squeezed, are getting tightened in terms of the reimbursement that they get. But other components of the medical CPI can continue to raise their prices, and we continue to have to pay for them. So any decrease in medical reimbursement from the federal or state government really does hurt healthcare and hurts all of us in the community as well.
You had major layoffs in the past year, not on your watch, but there were major layoffs of personnel.
Yes.
You also have a giant building going up next to the current hospital, but this isn't going to increase any hospital beds. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that's correct.
You also are going along with the growth in the valley and investing in new buildings. How are you able to do that with the loss of business?
Yeah, it's sort of interesting. I think the organization is positioning itself well for the future. In addition to that building, we're spending a fair amount of money on a computerized medical record system and a new robotics system for pharmacy, which are things that the people don't see, but that will help us from a cost perspective and help us from a medication error and reduction perspective. In terms of the medical building, it really does position the organization more for outpatient. A good portion of our business today in all healthcare across the state and across the country is moving from an inpatient perspective to an outpatient perspective. Unfortunately, most of our facilities were designed to take care of people in the hospital in beds. They were not geared to take care of people easily, quickly, in and out with major diagnostic capability, and that's what that building is really designed to help us accommodate.
Mr. O'Brien, St. Mary's has experienced some financial difficulty with the layoffs. Do you foresee any more layoffs under your watch?
No, we don't anticipate. Based on sort of my first month in office, having had a chance to look at our financials and look at where we're going and what we've done, much of the impact, the financial impact, has been caused by depreciation. A lot of these new buildings in the medical record system and those kinds of things I talked about have increased the amount of depreciation, which causes a financial loss. Not a cash flow loss, but a financial loss. And so what we had to do as an organization, losing some of the contracts, is right-size the organization down to a point where we could compete effectively, and we've done that. We now have some other areas that we've got to take a look at. The things I've talked about are materials, supplies, equipment, pharmaceutical costs, those kinds of things, to continue to ratchet down the cost of those outside of the normal scope of business.
Okay.
There's been a major problem in southern Nevada with the mentally ill taking up room in emergency rooms. Have we seen a problem like that in northern Nevada, or are you experiencing other kinds of problems in your emergency rooms?
Not to the degree that we've seen in the southern part of our state, and so I applaud the governor and what we're trying to do with respect to that. But it can exacerbate itself as our population grows, so it could get significantly worse. What we're trying to do, and what makes real good sense in the community, is to build urgent care clinics where the people are, so that they can, at a moment's notice, get low-cost care rather than go to the emergency room in their home communities. And so we and other providers are doing similar kinds of things to be able to do that, so that we don't have to build significantly more infrastructure, which costs a lot of money once we build bricks and mortar. So we're trying to take advantage of the cost of care and reduce the cost of care in that fashion.
You know, the governor has proposed cutting retirement health care benefits for teachers and all state workers. If this kind of plan went into effect over the years, how would it impact your hospital and hospitals across the state?
Well, it really depends. It depends on cutting to what degree. Are we cutting the benefits, or are we increasing the amount of money that people have to pay for those benefits? One impacts us, the other one doesn't necessarily impact us. I haven't seen the proposal, but if they were to cut the benefits to the employees, what could happen is the out-of-pocket costs go up, and we have a difficult time many times getting people to pay for that out-of-pocket cost. Even though it might be $10, $20, $50, many times people can't afford to pay for that. So anytime you increase that deductible or that co-payment, co-insurance, it has an direct impact on our healthcare costs, because we have to find other ways to subsidize those costs.
You brought up prescription drugs as being one of the major components of the increase in healthcare costs. What do you see as the solution? Is a good start the reimportation plan that we certainly had our legislators talking about over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's a good point. And that is one of the component pieces. But the other one, if you take Medicare as an example, and some 40% of our revenues are derived from Medicare, we get a fixed amount of money for a Medicare recipient per procedure. And whether or not the cost of the drugs that are used in that procedure are not capped, however, nor are the cost of supplies and equipment. So it seems to me that at a state level and or a federal level, we need to cap the increased cost for those kinds of components of the CPI as well. Otherwise, all hospitals are going to continue to have some difficulty.
Larry O'Brien, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with the Pundits. Get your headgear right after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined here today by attorney Matt Sharp, Martha Gould, and also Mike Hillerby's dad, Fred Hillerby. Welcome to the program. I want to start out with the attorneys on the table here. The stories in both Las Vegas Sun and the Las Vegas Review-Journal about the fact that doctors want to revive the medical lawsuit screening panel. After what we've just gone through with Keep Our Ducks in Nevada, does this surprise you, Matt?
It doesn't surprise me. I think it should surprise the public. Back before the medical malpractice crisis began, we had a functional screening panel in place.
Explain what they did.
Well, it was, in order to file a lawsuit under the old panel, you had to file the lawsuit. It went directly to a panel which consisted of 3 doctors and 3 lawyers. And basically the intent was to eliminate the frivolous case and to provide a remedy for the clear malpractice case, that those cases get settled and the cases that there was a legitimate dispute got tried. Unfortunately, over time, it didn't do a good job of getting the legitimate cases settled. It did a very good job of getting the frivolous cases eliminated. When the crisis started, the medical community as well as the insurance industry requested that we do away with the panel, and that was part of the special session in 2003. Now, after additional limitations on people's rights to sue, medical community, at least in the South, is saying we want the panel back. I can't see how it would be functional at this point.
Thanks, Sam. I was involved when we first started the screening panel back in the 70s, and Bob Sater was very instrumental in that. He was chairman of the judiciary, and I agree with Matt. You know, we had a lot of expectations regarding it. One was that it would screen out the frivolous, and I also agree that happened. But we expected there would be decisions about this is malpractice, this isn't malpractice, or we can't make up our mind. Initially, there was a lot of this is not malpractice. But as time went on, we really saw more and more unable to make a decision, and those ended up in court. So the panel did begin to lose its effectiveness in that way. And secondly, it took so darn long to get through the panel process. You're dealing with volunteers. As Matt said, you had 3 physicians who have busy practices, 3 attorneys who have busy practices. You're trying to get them to volunteer to sit down together after having reviewed all the written medical records to try to come up with some decision. And it was going as long as 2 years to get some people to the panel. So that in itself became a real burden. Whether or not it could serve some future value, I have sort of mixed feelings about it. If there's a way to get past the problem of making people wait an additional 2 years on top of the limitations Matt talked about, then it's problematic. But if there's a way to get it where it is a more expeditious system, and you do get rid of the frivolous, you know, some will say the frivolous will get rid of themselves because with the cap on awards, a lot of attorneys will not take what they view to be frivolous or minimal cases. But I think it still needs to be at least talked about.
Martha?
I agree that we need to talk about it, and perhaps in the future you would have a panel that would operate in a slightly different manner. Medical malpractice is not something that I have a lot of knowledge about, but I do have a very strong feeling that there are issues that are legitimate and cause great financial stress for families, and I'm not sure in those instances there should be a cap. How do you put a price on a life?
Okay, Ray?
It seems to me this latest proposal is just part of another battle of the ongoing war between doctors and attorneys. It was supposed to have settled in our special session in 2002. And it hasn't. It's ongoing. Matt, can you?
Well, I guess I'd like to qualify that. I don't know that the lawyers are battling anything. I mean, the people voted to pass code, and that's the law. That now the medical community wants more protections. I think Fred made a good point. Initially, the concept was a screening panel. What unfortunately occurred, and why I think a panel couldn't function now, is that we went beyond a screening to effectively requesting the panel to try the case. And that's not fair to either litigant. I mean, we have a system in place. The courts are very adept at limiting costs, making sure cases proceed on the merits. In fact, I know in Southern Nevada currently they're dealing with medical malpractice rules. Here locally, our judges are very effective at getting cases that are good tried, getting legitimate cases settled, and weeding out the frivolous cases.
Can you not set up a situation similar to what already is done using mediation?
Well, isn't that what this is, essentially?
And
well,
this
isn't mediation.
Seems like a bad idea.
What mediation is a concept where we can get together if we have a dispute in a confidential setting and try and resolve the dispute. And it's normally what's called an alternative dispute, which are encouraged currently within the courts. A screening panel is not that. It's an adversarial situation, which I would see coming back to the same problem, is how do you screen somebody's rights? I mean, we do have a right to trial by jury, and we have to at some point trust our courts to be able to eliminate those frivolous cases and let the meritorious cases go forward.
Let me ask you a question from a different point of view.
Actually, you've got time for about 10 seconds here.
And that is from the insurance and the premium point of view for doctors. Doctors who do not have malpractice, just as drivers who do not have accidents, should not be paying the same rate as doctors who do have a lot of malpractice.
You mean people who have had judgments against them?
Right.
Okay.
Got a lot of malpractice. Let's get them out of the profession.
Indeed. And we'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. Good point, Raymond.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, the folks at Van Dyne Roofing can get it fixed with their eyes closed.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
As always, we love to get your emails at newsmakers@kbbc.com and newsmakers@krnv.com. Who's coming up tomorrow?
Well, Sam, we got two guys who know how to balance a checkbook, Treasurer Brian Krolicki and former Treasurer Bob Seal.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.